You are watching Market Watch, the brief overview of the key events from the world of finance. If you are an investor or a trader, then keep a close eye on the two main events in the financial markets. We are talking about the prospect of changing the vector of the Fed's monetary policy and the decision of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission regarding Bitcoin ETFs. These are really two very strong magnets for capital. After all, we are now witnessing a steady growth in the U.S. stock indices, and more recently Bitcoin broke above $40,000 again, recording an increase of more than 150% since the beginning of the year. The bullish trend in the stock market is due to the active discussion of interest rate cuts, while the continued strengthening of Bitcoin is caused by the expectation of approval of applications for the creation of Bitcoin ETFs. Another confirmation that investors believe in the Fed's willingness to cut rates is gold. More precisely, the fact of its growth, because in the event of a reduction in the key interest rate by the American regulator, the yield of government bonds will decrease, thereby increasing the investment attractiveness of gold. But to activate the bullish scenario, it is necessary to fix the price above the technical resistance level of $2,050 per ounce. Recall that the previous time a breakthrough of this level provoked a strong wave of growth, which ended with an update of the historical maximum. Shifting to the oil market, pay attention to the relatively uncertain growth of oil prices. Nevertheless, despite the prospect of a decrease in demand and the absence of a shortage risk, the quotes managed to return to the green zone. This was made possible by two factors. Firstly, the trade route through the Red Sea is again inaccessible. This time, the problem is not in a huge ship that ran aground, but in the increased attacks on merchant ships. In this regard, a number of companies were forced to change the route, which will significantly slow down the transportation of oil. The second bullish fundamental factor is the Federal Reserve. The prospect of easing its monetary policy gives hope for a more modest slowdown in the growth of the U.S. economy. As you have already noticed, expectations are the main driving force. Therefore, let's talk about another expectation, namely the upcoming decision of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on applications for the creation of Bitcoin ETFs. Only based on the real actions of investors, it is safe to say that they are waiting for a positive decision. After all, in the last 3 months alone, the value of the largest cryptocurrency by capitalization has increased by 70%. This is not only a great growth potential, because if the expected event occurs, then most likely the price will rush up. But it is also important to remember about the risk of a collapse, which may occur in case of failure of one or several applications for the creation of a Bitcoin ETF. That's all I have. Follow the news carefully and be prepared for all the surprises of the market.